My plan today is to talk about bringing education in-house. It's a bit of play on words because what I want to talk about is the benefits of it, the perils of it, and then provide people with a solution in terms of what we've come up with to help people do it properly. So let's go through it. So for those who don't know me, my name's Kevin Baker. I'm the Academy Director of Your Academy. I've been a personal trainer since 2004, and my passion in tutoring and assessing kind of stems from the qualification that I did and the kind of the bad experience I had, if that makes sense. I did mine, I graduated from uni with a sports science degree, 2001, and I got a job in the local gym. It was actually a village hotel, and this was before reps, before CIMSPA came out. So it was very much, I remember I actually applied for the leisure cleaner job because I just needed a job. And I remember this woman saying, well, you've actually got a sports degree, why don't you work in the gym? So I was like, okay, I can do that. So I did that. There was no formal qualification. So therefore, all I gave to members of the gym coming in were the workouts that I did, that I liked, that I felt comfortable in presenting to people. So it soon made me realise when reps were starting to come through that I did need to do some formal qualification. So I did my level 2, but I did it through the ACSM, people heard of that, the American College of Sports Medicine, because that was basically who I was referencing through uni. They did a course in Leeds. I lived in Leeds at the time, still live in Leeds now. And so I did it through them. And to say there wasn't much application to learning was a bit of an understatement. I remember being in a tiny, tiny room, probably the size of that. And there was a lady sat on a Reebok step, some dumbbells, and one of those really old school bikes you get in a sports science lab where you have to put weights on the flywheel to make it a bit more intense. I had to do a submaximal fitness test on the bike and ask RP every 2 or 3 minutes based on the protocol. And I remember saying to myself, I had to do skin fold measurements as well. So I could tell you that the tricep skin fold was somewhere between the acromion process and olecranian process, but did I actually know how to get someone to lose body fat? No, not on that qualification. Did I know how to do health and fitness tests with people in a gym environment, not on this archaic bike? No. So that's kind of where my passion for this stemmed from. The fact that I just had to self-learn, and the fact that I stayed in the industry and learned, it was really frustrating because you get so many different opinions and so many different courses that you can do, which is kind of made worse now by people trying to sell their CPD courses, giving a little bit snippet for free, so you get your free CPD point, and then I'm going to do that, no I'm not, I'll do something else. There's no real structure as to how to go from an avid gym goer who wants to qualify as a PT, which a lot of people do, or career changers. And you just think to yourself, there must be a better way. So when I actually got into tutoring and assessing in 2009, it was funny to be on the other side of the fence and actually delivering those qualifications. And I remember at the time, the tutor that was mentoring me at the time, she said, slow down a bit, they don't know that yet. Well, they shouldn't know this, because I was trying to tell them all about the industry and about level 3 stuff and how to get results to people, and it was very much, no, this is the syllabus, this is the qualification. So that was ironically what I'm having to teach our tutors assessors now as well. Don't run before you can walk. So I've kind of seen it from both sides. I actually opened up my own PT studio somewhere in between that, 2007, and you can just see now how things have evolved from not just working in the industry, but also teaching in it, how things have kind of changed, but also how things need to keep changing and keep on getting better. And I think with the people in here, we all have a collective responsibility to do that. So in terms of your academy, we've gained the CIMSPA top enhancing status. I know we've got the 2 CIMSPA guys there, and we've had a chat about this before. My big thing, again, like I've said to you guys before, is that we've got the top enhancing status, but no one's come out to prove what we do. Does that make sense? So we've told you that we do it, but no one's come out, and I would like to prove it. This is what we do, and this is how we do it. Come to our workshops, see how we do it, see how engaged the learners are, see what they learn. Don't just look at the lesson plans. And I think that is the massive difference. When people say to me, what's different to your academy compared to other providers, you run active IQ qualifications. You do the same syllabus, you've got the same assessment plans. There's a big difference. I'm sure we all remember when you went to school, probably your favourite teacher is the person that you really engaged with, you were super on it, whereas the other subjects you might not have been that passionate about. There's a reason behind that. So we are an Active IQ approved centre. We are the official UK supplier of NSM CPD courses as well, because what we find, again, and this stems from our work with Your Personal Training, is that once PTs qualify, again, they probably need extra education, extra learning. They probably have a passion in something that they want to go into. So in terms of CPD courses, we can run performance enhancement specialist, certified nutrition, corrective exercise, and we're also doing youth, and we're also doing senior. I say we're already doing, we're a supplier of it, so they actually get access to the NASM online portal, and they do their course through that. So we are the supplier of that, if you like, but we don't actually teach it. And we've already got trusted educational partnerships with certain gyms around the UK and abroad, along with some top fitness brands that you see on screen there. So we like to say that we do talk the talk and we do walk the walk as well. Okay. In terms of the benefits of bringing education in-house, it was the reason why actually your academy evolved, because again, with the work with Your Personal Training, who have over 400 gyms around the UK abroad, who manage personal trainers within those facilities, it made sense for James and for Aaron to come up with an idea of, or how can we get the right people into our clubs? How can we retain existing staff? And how can we add an additional revenue stream? So they're the three main points, obviously, we've got on there. So that's why basically Your Academy was born. So what we try and do on our courses is make sure that not only do we train people to become PTs, but they have those key skills that we know they need when they go into the actual sector. So things that, again, are part of the curriculum, they are part of the assessment process, but again, a key thing that I would like to see with different providers is things like communication skills. How do we get that across? How do we teach it? When we do the assessment on consultations, I'd love to see some consultation assessments to see if they hit the Active IQ criteria, because the criteria is actually very, very good if you look at it. And if you teach it properly, you can see someone who really struggles to interact with someone to actually start using more open-ended questions, reflecting on things, giving them positive affirmations. It's all very good stuff based on motivational interviewing, but how are we teaching it? You know, are we just skirting over that and asking learners to do an assessment in their bedroom with their mum? Okay, well, we might be, we might not be, who knows? But essentially, we want to try and find the right people, and then in terms of working with independent gyms, actually multi-skilling the teams as well. So we've had, recently, we've done work with a gym up in Huddersfield where they had a lot of front of house staff, AGMs, lifeguards, that their facility needed upskilling to help with the actual gym provision. So they needed more fitness instructors basically to cover. So we did a 7-week course, the level 2, Active IQ level 2 gym instructor. And as a consequence of that, now we've provided a solution to their needs. They've got much more multi-skilled and more numbers within their facility. Going to the second one, retaining existing fitness staff through CPD. Again, when Aaron told me this from Your PT, I was thinking, bloody hell, that's crazy. Industry average is 5 to 7 months for a PT to stay within a facility. Your Personal Training is 28.6 months. Now, that's not a bit of a difference, that's a massive difference. And credit to Your Personal Training for doing that. But again, since kind of being kind of around Your Personal Training, I can see why that's a thing. And there's that support and there's that feedback given to learners, given to personal trainers once they finish. I was just speaking to Ollie today, and one of our graduates has just started, and he's already got 2 leads. He hasn't started yet, right? He can see how many leads he's got. He can see if he's followed up with the leads. That's amazing. All right, whereas other PTs are like, right, there you go, pay your license fee, off you go. All right, and I think we all have, again, that collective responsibility to make sure that they know once they go into the industry, this is what's going to happen. Yeah, and these are the different options, etc., etc. So looking at that stat there just above, 34% of job seekers stated their biggest motivation for looking for a new role was clear progression opportunities. So again, with YPT, they have different stages of a PT. Now again, because I don't get into it too much, you two will probably be better at explaining that than me. But one of the options is for them to become a tutor assessor with your academy. And it's fun. I always have the conversation with them. When I have a chat with them, they think it's the interview there. As in like, oh, Kev, do you think I can be a PT? I'm like, a tutor assessor. And I say to them, we'll do the course and then I'll tell you. Because I'm not going to interview you based on you saying the right things. And then I say that you've got the job and then we do the qualification. Do the qualification to prove that you can do it. Yeah? And then after that, we'll let you know if we give you any work or not. But ultimately, there's that progression pathway there to keep people within the business. And obviously, it's certainly working. And then lastly, obviously, bringing education in-house, it can add an additional revenue stream. And again, people that I've spoken to today are obviously very keen on that. So let's talk about kind of how we can do it. But I've got here about sort of like the requirements. And again, this is just to kind of explain to people the huge commitment that it takes in order to run an academy or to run a centre. And I think a lot of people are quite naive by that. Fact that they think they can just easily fit it into what they already do. You know, time being probably the main commitment that people may not have. So setting up a centre, all your policies and procedures. I know, again, we use Active IQ, so Active IQ help with that. But you still need to tweak it and change it based on your operation and how you run things. Timetables, lesson plans, again, they can be very easy to figure out, but are you doing a lesson plan with inclusive learning? What sort of like resources have you got for learners as they go through that day? Is it online? Is it face-to-face? I think a lot of the time I know when I worked for the training room and it was it was actually a 7-week fast-track course to begin with because exercise to music was on it. And I remember I had to do my exercise to music micro teach. And I remember the first masterclass I had to do was to, what's his name? He said totally the wrong person then. No, hold on. Can't remember his name. But basically, it was car crash. It was absolutely awful. And I remember apologising to the learners because the tutor that I was being mentored by at the time, she had to go down to London for that week. So let's say I didn't do a very good job of training up this group of people to be exercise music instructors. If I ever meet any of them, I'll apologise. But I'll get someone else to teach them, not me again. So I'm still no good at it. But what I'm getting at here, in terms of the learning materials, they've got to support the tutors and the assessors to do the job properly. And there needs to be some standardisation where if I'm doing this course here and you're doing the course somewhere else in the UK, those learners are getting the same level of experience for that day. Yeah, they're getting the same education. Yes, my experience as a PT is going to be different compared to, say, your experience as a PT, but that's why we take on our tutors, assessors, we take on experienced personal trainers. Because do you guys know what it takes to become a tutor assessor? Do you know what we have to go through? It sounds like it's awful. It's not much. We have to do a very basic qualification, 4 worksheets and a lesson plan, and then we do a micro teach to people. So if I've done an hour of teaching someone, then hey, presto, I can do it. And that, again, that's not enough. But for myself, when we take on our tutors assessors, it's the extra stuff that we give afterwards to support them as they go through their first couple of courses. Now, believe me, that creates a lot more headache for me in terms of going through their work and looking at it, making sure it's okay, travelling along to see them do presentations, but it's worth it in the end because our learners get a better learning experience from that. Staff education CPD, I will credit Active IQ for this because I love the fact that I can put our tutors assessors on some staff education and it's all to do with best practice, so thank you for that. It really is useful. Course promotion, obviously you're going to have a lot of time in terms of promoting your courses, delivery of face-to-face workshops, and obviously the assessment days, you've got the time of actually putting that into your schedule as well. But not just that, the regular support sessions. And again, I think that's what's missing with a lot of training providers, in the fact that they do this, but they might not do this. So now with Teams, Zoom, all this, that, whatever, it's very easy to get people together and go through these support sessions with them and teach them stuff that, let's say, sometimes gets lost from just reading the manual or watching the video. Just having a chat about it and talking through it and explaining that and giving anecdotes and best practice. So time is going to be a massive thing if you're going to be setting up your own education pathway. And obviously money as well. So you need marketing budgets in order to promote your courses, awarding body costs, annual license fees and things, staffing costs for your tutors, assessors, learner costs, the registrations, the manuals. You're going to have to think about your learner payment plans. How are they going to pay? Do you have to pay a finance company in order to facilitate that? So ultimately, you're going to be spending money, not just making money. And I think if you go in that half-baked, you'll probably get burnt, because you'll realise that, yeah, on paper, this might look fairly cheap, but when you actually come to do it, things do add up. Okay, so you need to bear that in mind. But for me, this is the biggie. This is like the knowledge that you need to have. So in terms of staffing, I'm a big one in terms of having I've got experienced tutors, assessors there. It would be lovely if I could get loads of experienced tutors, assessors that were also experienced personal trainers. But unfortunately, they're quite difficult to come by, because they've probably got their own training centre anyway. Now, we will have very successful PTs, and I've taken them through the actual qualification, the tutor assessor qualification. Personal trainers, if they're self-employed, are very much lone wolves. They like to do things by themselves. There's no real regulation in terms of what they say to their clients. They could say to their clients that the world is flat, and the client goes, oh, really? Okay, yeah, brilliant. There's no science behind things, and there's no regulation to what they say. There can't be. We can't facilitate that. But when it comes to actually a tutor delivering that, we need to be very mindful that these people are telling our learners what is correct and what is fact, and what is not just based on, say, assessment criteria, but what is actually going on, and anecdotes and stories and things. And that takes an experienced PT, right? If you think, how many times do you think in my PT career I told a client how blood flows through the heart? 10, 20, 30? Zero. Of course it's zero. Why do they want to know that? However, I've spoken to, again, a couple of people today and talking about overall well-being and health. You need to have those regular conversations with clients. You need to have those difficult conversations. If they're not achieving things, we need to do reassessments. So why am I talking about where the skin fold measurement needs to be on my tricep? Let's have the conversation around why they can't change habits. And again, it's in the Active IQ manual, so why are we not teaching it? Why are PTs not going away saying, okay, let's do a decision balance sheet on this. Let's find out why you're not actually changing, or why this is a bit of an issue. It's in the books, but again, because there's no direct assessment on that, things just get passed by. So we've got here real life PT experience versus qualification criteria. This is the conversation, I'd probably say, we have with a lot of our tutors, assessors, whereby, yes, we need to give out stories and things, but we need to stick to the qualification criteria so it's fair and it's a valid assessment. I remember for a guy who was doing a tutor assessor qualification, he put a lesson plan together for 90 minutes about a squat, how to do a squat, 90-minute presentation on a squat. I was like, what else are you going to talk about throughout the rest of the course? And are they just going to leave after just knowing how to squat, but they don't know how to do anything else? Yeah, there was no real understanding of how a qualification works, how to follow a lesson plan, how to interact with different people. So again, going back to the PTs and being slightly lone wolves, they think they can just do it their way, or they can change this and change that. No, you can't. You're part of a team when you're a tutor assessor. So reason why I'm getting this, staffing is crucial when setting up a academy. If you don't get the right people in, you're kind of sinking from the start. It's very difficult. So got down the bottom, are we ticking a box or breeding competence and confidence? I think the key thing for me is making sure that obviously we're doing both. Someone understands the assessment criteria and the assessment protocol, but how does that relate to the real world? Okay, and I think, again, looking at some of the criteria, if I've got to tell people health and safety information before the start of every PT session, are we really getting across to learners what it's going to be like in the real world? I don't think we are. So I think some of the criteria is a bit silly, it's a bit outdated. I can see why it's in there, but I don't think personally it should be through a practical assessment. It could be done via other means. So what we therefore do at your academy, we partner with different gyms to basically do the heavy lifting for them. And then as a consequence, all we need, is this a, no it's not. All we need is access to gym facilities and help advertising and promoting the actual course, because we'll do the rest. We'll provide them with additional revenue stream, we'll fulfill quality staff recruitment needs, and we'll retain existing staff through CPD, and we basically do it all for everyone. So the advertising will do these things that we see on here, we can personalise them for the gym. The registration, certification with our awarding body is done through your academy. Tutors assessors will be your academy tutors assessors to deliver the course. Now we can make things bespoke for the facility. I've spoken to a few people today, and I think quite a few gym owners seem to be very passionate about how they do things and how they want things done in their facilities. If they're recruiting staff, they want the PTs to kind of be doing it their way. And you can easily facilitate that. We do active IQ stuff, but we also do you stuff. We'll just factor that into your timetable, put an extra day on the course, and that's when you can lead that day. As long as you show me the lesson plan and it doesn't conflict with anything that I'm going to be saying, I'm happy with that. Off we go. We'll do all the quality assurance, and we'll allow you to use our online learning portal for all obviously learner knowledge. So again, they've all got the same learning experience. So that's what we do. Basically, we work with gyms in order for them to do in-house training, but it's technically us that's doing the training. They're just doing it within their gyms. So if you imagine the members that are going to be using those gyms will probably have the same ethos and the same kind of mentality as the gym owners. That's why they go to that gym. And all we're doing, we're going to kind of work with that gym in order to provide a great learning experience for these individuals going through the course. Here's some examples of how we've done that. So I think I already mentioned the first one, example number one. So it's the business need was basically multi-skilling existing staff. So front of house, lifeguards, AGMs, to become the gym instructors. So we actually gave them a bulk discount on level 2 gym instructor 7-week course. So we took them through that. And the payment was actually they paid us through their gym's annual education budget. So it was actually the gym that paid for that one, paid for the gym instructors, because it solved a business need. Whereas the other two examples, they're more learner self-funded. So example 2 was the expansion of current PT team. So if you imagine you've got 5 PTs already in club, but the aim was to get to 7, then not just the actual extra income they get from the personal trainers then working there afterwards, but also the additional revenue that we give to these people for kind of allowing us to work in their facility and take learners through that course. So the solution again was the level 2 and level 3 this time. The first example, they didn't need level 3, they just wanted gym instructors, whereas this one here is more they wanted PTs. And also this actual place, they had an aging demographic as part of their membership base. So we put in that CPD of senior fitness as well, the NSM CPD. But it was the learners that paid for that. And then the last one, this is where your personal training comes in. There was actually the development of a whole new PT team. Okay, so they need to have a whole new culture going in there, and people obviously need to be trained up. So we offer a part-funded level 2 and level 3 PT course. So it's a lot cheaper for the individual. The individual still pays for it, but then the individual is contracted to work for your personal training post-qualification in order to set up their business and be successful in the industry. And the reason why we put that together is we're very confident if we take them through the academy and we do it properly, when they start self-employed, as long as they follow what we're talking about and as long as we get support with them as they go through their new journey, then they'll be absolutely fine. Okay, the problem exists when someone doesn't do their job properly. All right, and that can go all the way back to the start where I'm advertising a PT role for £70,000 a year, first year. All right, so that's kind of all the way back there. Obviously, I'm not doing that. Right, so that is basically it, I think. For more information, you can click on that, and that will take you through to a landing page where we can have a bit more of a chat about it. But has anyone got any questions you want to ask me? No? Cheers, Kev. Give me a round of applause then.